Welcome to Hamburgers and Hot Rods, the podcast featuring Southern California's classic car community and its food scene. Let's get started now. Hello everyone, I'm Jim Karras. Welcome to the 5th episode of the Hamburgers and Hot Rods podcast. The title of today's show is Sonic Drive-In, America's Drive-In. In today's show, we will feature Sonic Drive-In, the largest chain of modern-day drive-in restaurants in the country still offering carhop service throughout its entire nationwide system. With its recent expansion into Southern California, drive-in service has once again returned to the Southland. Following World War II, Sonic's founder, Troy Smith Sr., returned to his hometown of Seminole, Oklahoma. Soon after his return home, Smith purchased the Cottage Cafe, a little diner in Shawnee, Oklahoma. Before long, he sold it and opened a fast food restaurant named Troy's Panful of Chicken, located on the edge of town in Shawnee. In 1953, Smith went in with a business partner to purchase a 5-acre parcel of land that had a log house and a walk-up root beer stand, already named the Top Hat. The two men continued with the operation of the root beer stand and converted the log house into a steak restaurant. After realizing that the stand was averaging $700 a week in the sale of root beer, hamburgers, and hot dogs, Smith decided to focus on the more profitable root beer stand. He also bought out his partner. Originally, Top Hat customers would park their automobiles anywhere on the gravel parking lot and walk up to place their orders. However, on a trip to Louisiana, Smith saw a drive-in that used speakers for ordering. He suspected he could increase his sales by controlling the parking and having the customers order from speakers at their cars, with car hops delivering the food to their cars. Smith borrowed several automobiles from a friend who owned a used car lot nearby to establish a layout for controlled parking. He also had some so-called jukebox boys come in and wire an intercom system for the parking lot. Sales immediately tripled. Charles Woodrow Papp, an entrepreneur, chanced upon the Shawnee Drive-In and was very impressed. Smith and he negotiated the first franchise location in Woodward, Oklahoma in 1956, based on nothing more than a handshake. By 1958, 2 more drive-ins were built in Enid and Stillwater. Upon learning that the Top Hat name was already trademarked, Smith and Papp changed the name to Sonic in 1959. The new name worked well with their existing slogan at the time, service with the speed of sound. After the name change, the first Sonic sign was installed at the Stillwater Top Hat Drive-In. This was the first of 3 Sonics that would eventually exist in Stillwater. The original Sonic to carry the first sign was demolished and renovated in May of 2015. Although Smith and Papp were being asked to help open new franchise locations, no real royalty plan was in place at the time. The pair decided to have their paper company charge an extra penny for each Sonic label hamburger bag it sold. The proceeds would then be split between Smith and Papp. The first franchise contracts under this plan were drawn up, but still no joint marketing plan, standardized menu, or detailed operating requirements were in place. Sonic's founders formed Sonic Supply as a supply and distribution division in the 1960s. Under Smith, longtime franchise holders Marvin Juros and Matt Kinslow were hired to run the division. In 1973, Sonic Supply was restructured as a franchise company that was briefly named Sonic Systems of America, which provided franchisees with equipment, building plans, and basic operational instructions. As the company grew into a regionally known operation during the 1960s and early 1970s, the drive-ins were mainly in small towns in Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, New Mexico, Missouri, and Arkansas. In 1967, the year Papp died, the brand had 47 drive-ins. By 1972, this number had risen to 165, and by 1978, 1,000 restaurants were operating. In 1968, Sonic introduced the Pickle O's fried pickle slices. In 1977, the company established the Sonic School for Manager Training. Franchisees operated most of the drive-ins and often made the store manager a business partner, even to this day. In 1983, the company's board of directors hired C. Stephen Lynn as president, and in 1984, Lynn hired J. Clifford Hudson, an attorney, to head the legal department. Under Lynn, Sonic and its major franchisees began to encourage the development of local advertising cooperatives, and shortly thereafter, Sonic's management team developed the field structure to work with franchisees. New franchises began to expand the company into new areas and redevelop markets that had been unsuccessful in the past. These developments, combined with a major advertising campaign featuring popular singer and actor Frankie Avalon, led to significant growth and a new image that made Sonic a nationally recognized name. In 1986, Lynn, with a group of investors, completed a $10 million leveraged buyout and took the company private. The next year, Sonic moved its offices to lease space at 120 Robert S. Kerr Avenue in downtown Oklahoma City and began to assume a higher profile in the community. In 1988, Lynn focused on expanding into California. However, at the time, Lynn's plan was to first launch in small cities and rural towns in Northern California, in such places as Cotati, California. The company awarded its first California franchise agreement to Michael Coleman, who opened the first California Sonic Drive-In in Cotati in May 1988. In 1991, Sonic became a publicly traded company again. By 1994, the corporation had renegotiated the franchise agreements with its franchisees. In 1995, Hudson became president and chief executive officer, and Sonic Industries became Sonic Corp. During the mid-1990s, Sonic opened 100 to 150 new restaurants each year. Beginning in 1998, Sonic began a retrofit program called Sonic 2000 to redesign and update all 1,750 stores in its chain to what was called a retro future look. Hudson was named chairman of Sonic Corp in January 2000. Celebrating its 50th birthday in 2003, Sonic briefly added the birthday cake shake to the menu. As a part of the anniversary celebration, Pickle O's made another appearance as a reoccurring item. Development milestones celebrated in the 2000s included the opening of the 30th Sonic Drive-In in Shawnee, Oklahoma, and the 3500th Sonic Drive-In in the Chicago market area in Algonquin, Illinois. On January 5, 2005, the company started to roll out card readers in the drive-in stalls at its 544 company-owned restaurants by the end of January of that year. On June 28, 2005, helped by new menu items and increased advertising exposure, Sonic Corp reported double-digit increases in the net income and revenue in the third quarter of that year. In 2007, the company opened its first restaurants in the northeastern United States in Waretown, New Jersey, near the Jersey Shore. In 2009, Sonic partnered with DonorsChoice.org on a collaborative effort, Limeades for Learning, the chain's first system-wide cause marketing initiative. Public school teachers' requests needed supplies and materials, and Sonic customers vote on how to allocate over $500,000 each autumn. In the first 7 years of the program, Sonic and its franchisees have donated more than $6 million and impacted learning for more than 349,000 students nationwide. Despite growth into new markets outside the brand's traditional footprint, the company was hit hard by the recession of 2008 through 2009. In 2009, the brand had multiple quarters of declines in same-store sales. In the first part of the new decade, following a dramatic downturn in business, Sonic's management recognized a need for change. The restaurant chain's leadership began to focus on food quality and the integrity of their food supply chain. In January 2010, Sonic announced that they would begin switching to cage-free eggs, gestation crate-free pork, and chickens killed using controlled atmosphere stunning methods instead of traditional shackling and water sunning. Sonic also reformulated its popular soft-serve ice cream to meet FDA guidelines that define what constitutes real ice cream, and introduced real ice cream on May 17, 2010. Several new hot dog items were also introduced in June of 2010 and February 2011. The efforts made to improve food quality worked as sales once again rebounded. In the mid-2010s, the company began a refranchising effort and began to add to its numbers of stores once again. On October 26, 2015, Sonic opened its first Rhode Island location in Smithfield, reporting to have received 500 orders on its opening day. In 2017, Sonic announced it would be adding 7 new stores in the state of Hawaii. On September 25, 2018, Atlanta-based Inspire Brands, owner of Arby's and Buffalo Wild Wings, announced that it was buying Sonic Drive-In for $2.3 billion. The acquisition was completed on December 7, 2018. In October 2019, Inspire Brands also completed its acquisition of the Jimmy John's sandwich chain. In early 1988, Sonic Corp desired to expand into California, first looking at small towns and cities in the northern part of the state. The first franchise agreement was entered into with the Coleman Group and its CEO, Michael Coleman, for up to 30 restaurants to be located throughout Northern California. At the time, Lynn was also working with Frankie Avalon for franchise rights in the Los Angeles area, and with Dan Galindo of the Galindo Group for franchises of up to 15 restaurants in Riverside and Orange counties. In 2010, Sonic struck a franchise deal with Paul Lee, president of Keystone Restaurant Group, to roll out restaurants in San Bernardino County, including Victorville, Apple Valley, and Rancho Cucamonga. By 2011, Sonic Drive-Ins were serving customers with their famous car hops in Anaheim, Fullerton, Mission Viejo, Costa Mesa, and Duarte. In January 2014, Sonic announced it struck a franchise deal for the greater Los Angeles area to open up to 10 more restaurants in Southern California. The chain also announced that it intended to continue its expansion into larger metropolitan areas throughout California and could open as many as 300 drive-ins throughout the state in coming years. By 2016, the chain had grown in California to 35 locations. In January of 2016, the chain announced it had plans to open another 33 restaurants in California, bringing its then total number of drive-in restaurants within California to 68 locations. Today, the system operates 76 drive-ins throughout the state and 3585 nationwide. There are 49 Sonic drive-ins in Southern California and 27 in Northern California. The menu at Sonic has been standardized across the chain's system. Menu items include the typical fare of hamburgers, hot dogs, chicken sandwiches, chicken tenders, breakfast burritos, breakfast sandwiches, French fries, tater tots, soft pretzel twists, and handmade onion rings. Drinks offered include frozen drinks, lemonades and limeades, soft drinks, an assortment of iced tea offerings, hot and cold coffees, cold milk, and apple juice. Sonic is famous for their ice cream treats including hand-mixed shakes, ice cream Sonic Blast, real ice cream cones, and real ice cream sundaes. Southern California area Sonic locations offer in-restaurant dining, patio dining, drive-through service, and drive-in car hop service. In preparing for this show, Sabrina and I, along with my sister Kathy and her 17-year-old daughter Sierra, had dinner on a Saturday night at the Fullerton Sonic Drive-In. While Sabrina and I had been to a Sonic before, Kathy and Sierra have never been to one. While different than my recollection of past visits to A&W drive-ins of my youth, our visit to Sonic still shared some nostalgic flair that goes with this type of dining experience. We cruised into the restaurant's lot and picked a drive-in slot, pulled up to the lighted menu board. The menu was easily visible from each car occupant and was organized in a neat fashion. Upon pushing a button on the menu board, we notified the attendant we were ready to order. The attendant was friendly and assisted us with placing our order. Because we wanted to try out several items, our order ranged from hamburgers, hot dogs, French fries and tots, a milkshake, some soft drinks, an ice cream cone, and a hot fudge sundae. Once we completed our order, the car hop shortly arrived at our car window and delivered our food. He wasn't on skates but walked up with a large tray. After offloading his tray, he assisted us with electronic payment for our food at a point-of-service terminal on the menu and returned to the restaurant. When we completed our meal, we did have to exit the car to deposit the used food containers into the nearby trash receptacle. Once that task was completed, we backed out of our covered parking space and headed home. Sierra was the only one in our group that had never been to a drive-in restaurant before, so I was curious of her take on the experience. She said she loved the food and her shake, and she would like to come again. Since then, she has asked to go back to Sonic as she really enjoyed her meal and the experience. It was interesting to note that while the chain may have its car hops still use roller skates in other states, the locations we have been to in Southern California each appear to not permit their car hops to use roller skates. Nevertheless, our food has always been delivered promptly by a friendly car hop with a big smile. That is our take on the Sonic drive-in chain. If you've never patronized a drive-in restaurant and experienced in-car dining served by a friendly car hop, you should visit a Southern California Sonic drive-in location near you. It's a great experience for the whole family and one that most likely will be memorable. Well, as in the case of all drive-in food throughout the history of this unique concept, the food isn't always the healthiest or even of high quality, but it is served with a smile and most of the menu items are tasty. With this episode in the can, we've completed our series on Southern California drive-in restaurants. From the 20s to today, drive-in restaurants have been woven into the fabric of life in the Southland. Hot foods, cold drinks, served fast by friendly staff, has been the mantra of these eating establishments. The advent of the automobile changed how America dined outside of their homes forever. Just as cars morphed from decade to decade, restaurant dining reinvented itself to keep up with an ever-changing public demand for innovations in food service. As we prepared to bring you this series, we learned a lot about Southern California's early history and its culinary past. We hope you enjoyed exploring this story of how the early car culture and the food scene respectively influenced each other. In future shows, we will continue to follow this evolution from the 1970s until today. Now it's time for Sabrina with the upcoming car events around Southern California.
Here's what's happening in the car hobby around Southern California for the weekend of February 28th through March 1st. Friday, February 28th. Buena Park has Classic Car Fridays at the Elks Lodge, located at 7212 Melrose Street, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. The famous Burbank Bob's Big Boy Show at 4211 West Riverside Drive, 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. Burbank also has Valley Cruise Night at the Foster's Freeze, 201 South Glen Oaks Boulevard, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Garden Grove has their weekly Friday night car show at 12891 Historic Main Street from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Northridge has Bob's Big Boy, 8876 Corbin Avenue, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And in Yucca Valley at the Sonic Drive-In, our feature this week, 58145 Highway 62 from 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Saturday, February 29th, Anaheim has the Cars and Coffee at Masterson's, 2120 East Howell Avenue from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Brea has their Classic Car Show at the Farmer Boys Restaurant, 500 West Lambert Road, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Carlsbad has Seabad Cars at 7130 Avenida Encinas from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Chino has Godzilla 69 Saturday Night Cars at Pep Boys, located at 4046 Grand Avenue, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Corona has Cars and Coffee's Corona at Celine Headquarters, 2755 Wardlow Road, from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. El Segundo has the Manhattan Beach Cars and Coffee, located at 850 South Sepulveda Boulevard, from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Gardena has the Classic Cruisers Car Show at the Farmer Boys at 641 West Redondo Beach Boulevard from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Glendale also has a Cars and Coffee at the Chevy Chase Country Club, 3067 East Chevy Chase Drive from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Huntington Beach, the famous donut derelicts. Get there early, space fills up fast, and it's located at Magnolia and Adams at 6 a.m. through to 9 a.m. La Cañada has the Early Rodders, and they meet at the United Artists Theater, 1919 Verdugo Boulevard, from 6:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Los Angeles has the 37th LA Lit and Toy Show, and it's at 5711 West Century Boulevard at 9 a.m. Palm Desert has Silver Scorpions Cars and Breakfast, located 44491 Town Center Way, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Paris has the Fundraiser Car Cruise at 1688 North Paris Boulevard, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Placentia has Donuts and Dipsticks, located at 2001 East Orangethorpe Avenue, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Rancho Santa Fe has their Cars and Coffee at 5978 Paseo Delicias, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. San Clemente has the South OC Cars and Coffee, held at the outlets at San Clemente in their southwest corner, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Torrance has Caffeine Cruisers, Artesian Hawthorne Boulevard, from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. And lastly, Valencia has Coffee and Cars at 23222 Valencia Boulevard, from 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Events for Sunday, March 1st, Chino Hills has Cars and Coffee Chino Hills at the Donut Star, 4195 Chino Hills Parkway, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Huntington Beach has Cars and Coffee at Pacific City, located at 21010 Pacific Coast Highway, from 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Lake Forest has their Cars and Coffee at the Irvine Subaru, 23663 Rockfield Boulevard, from 9:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. Lakewood has Hot Cakes and Hot Rods at Glory Day Sports Grill, 4132 Woodruff, from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Northridge has Classic Cars and Coffee at the Western Bagel, located at 19500 Plummer Street, starting at 6 a.m. Pomona is having their Swap Meet and Classic Car Show at the Fairplex. For more information, see SoCalCarCulture.com. Seal Beach has Hot Rods at the Beach, Glory Days Seaside Grill, 620 Pacific Coast Highway, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Temecula has Cars and Coffee at Gosh Ford, 26895 Winez Road, from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And in Tustin, it's the $1 Million Breakfast Cruise at Enderley Center, located just off the 55 freeway at 17th Street, and that's from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. Whittier has Whittier Hills Cars and Coffee, 15740 Whitwood Lane, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. And lastly, in Woodland Hills, it's Supercar Sunday at the Pierce College, 6201 Winnetka Avenue, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. That's what's happening around Southern California in the car scene during the weekend of February 28th through March 1st.
In our next episode, we will feature Cruising the Boulevard and the teen culture of the 1970s in Southern California. From San Bernardino, the San Fernando Valley, East Los Angeles, South Central Los Angeles, to the heart of Orange County. Teenagers cruising the boulevards of Southern California enjoyed a resurgence from this phenomenon that started in the 1940s in Southern California. In 1973, American Graffiti, a film produced by Francis Ford Coppola and directed by George Lucas, was released in American theaters across the country. The film was an immediate hit and reignited a whole new teenage generation's interest in cars and cruising. We will reminisce about this popular teenage pastime and explore how cars, cops, teens, and local business owners all adjusted to an old craze that resurfaced during a magical time in our country. Still popular in some areas around the Southland, we will also look at modern-day cruising today. Please join us as we explore Cruising the Boulevard on the next episode of Hamburgers and Hot Rods. That's it for this episode. We hope you enjoyed your time with us today. You can visit us online at hamburgersandhotrods.com, where you can check out our show notes, listen to our complete show library, as well as checking out all of the various platforms where our show can be heard. Until next time, thanks for listening. We'll see you then.